Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Yeah, you know what it is. Hard worker, scrappy, unfiltered, and sometimes unhinged football content. Hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Doing it daily our way. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redraft and Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got you covered. You know their defense is ranked like 31st in the NFL? NFL draft prospects and rookies? Now you know you in the right place for that.
Absolutely.
All right, then stop saying it. Then we're done. And prop bets with my man Jay Rich.
Count that money, man.
Now wipe the crust out of your eyes, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake your ass up with Ray G. You honestly are making absolutely no sense and you sound silly as hell. Good morning, 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 good people. Yes, Migos getting us straight this morning, August 1st, Monday, 2022. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with Ray G, and for that, we are appreciative, man. This is going to be a big sports show, big sports day as the world awaits for the news. Deshaun Watson. We're going to figure out today what's going on with Deshaun Watson. We've got a 2023 early mock draft we want to take a look at. We got training camps, news, notes, buzz, this, that, all types of stuff for you today on this show. But we have to start off with the biggest news story in the sports world, the passing of Boston Celtics legend Bill Russell, the greatest champion in sports history. The list of accomplishments for Bill Russell, honestly, there's nothing that even compares. You look at him, 11-time NBA champion, all-star, just what he did to revolutionize and change the game of basketball. He was a part of so many historic milestones for African-American basketball players, athletes. A lot of people today talk about activism and civil rights, and Bill Russell was one of the individuals who epitomized that and, put his actions where his words were. So for somebody just this accomplished, and what I appreciate the most about Bill Russell is he lived all the way until he wasn't, right? You saw him every all-star game, slam dunk competitions, sporting events. He was everywhere. Just lived life to the fullest. It blows my mind, Jay, and I don't know if you had known, if you knew this before, but player coach won 8 straight titles, and he had 2 titles as player coach at 33 years old, following up Red Auerbach, one of the greatest coaches in NBA history. Just what he did on and off the court, absolute legend. He will be missed. Rest in paradise, Mr. Bill Russell. All right, Jay, what's going down, man? How you doing this morning, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Very well said about Bill Russell. Like you talk about, so many great accolades, such a great dude. Finals MVP award will be honored by his name and wear his name probably forever. So that's, I think, one of the things the NBA has done to carry on his legacy. But super sad to see Bill Russell go. One of those guys that doesn't matter how long you watch the NBA, you know Bill Russell. No matter how old you are, you know who Bill Russell is. There's a reason for that. But I'm good, man. I'm good. A lot of big news today. Watson, obviously, still the biggest one. Waiting for that news to drop, scrolling Twitter aggressively, trying to find it first. We wanted to break it on the show. We wanted to talk about it here. But that NFLPA statement is interesting. But I'll let you say good morning to the people.
Yeah. Let me say good morning to the people real quick, because we got a lot of people in the building, man. The chat is going down. I see Ricardo in the building. Good morning, Ricardo, Tommy, Adam, Marlon in the building, Brandon, Joe. What's up, Joe? Ray's just watching the chat right now. Nah, man, I'm chilling. How you doing, Joe? Good morning, Eric, Lindsey, Matt, Cody in the building, 5-star Pete. Gretchen, good morning to you. Lindsey, Mac, Ty, Matt Bruning. I saw my boy Cody Carpentier in the building. Fizzle Dollars, man. It's good. And if you're new to the channel, welcome, man. This is the Wake Up Show. We have a good time on this show. Talk sports, mainly football, college, and NFL, but talk about a little bit of everything. And Jay has got some news that we've got to get into. So let's go ahead and get Jay Rich up here, because we've got so much to get through, and we are probably going to run long today. We want to be here live as the Deshaun Watson news breaks. We got 2023 mock draft to take a look at. So let's get it with the news right now. Jay Rich, let's go, baby.
This is straight facts, and I bring you nothing but. But we're here to talk news today. We're starting with Deshaun Watson's suspension. Now, it was reported yesterday that Deshaun Watson's suspension is going to be settled some point today. People say 9 a.m. Eastern time. We're hoping for that so we can break it on the show. But the biggest story this morning was actually that Deshaun Watson settled 3 more cases against him this morning. And one of the biggest cases was the settlement of Ashley Solis, who was actually the first plaintiff who went after Deshaun Watson in these court cases. So this is a big report. You know, there's only one more pending case right now, civil suit to be settled. And so 3 of them more have been settled now, with Solis being the biggest one. And Watson's lawyer also said that she was one of the biggest cases that they wanted to settle. So this is pretty big news on top of the report also coming that there was potential settlement talks between the NFL and Deshaun Watson's camp. Deshaun Watson and the NFLPA only wanted to do 6 to 8 games, but the NFL wanted at least 12 games with a very heavy fine of $8+ million. I don't know how that plays into potentially what's going to be reported today for the neutral arbitrator, but we'll see what happens. And obviously the NFLPA released a statement saying that they hope the NFL honors the suspension by the arbitrator. So there's a lot of things in play with Deshaun Watson's suspension that we're going to get into today. And hopefully we get the news break so we can talk about it some more. But a lot of moving parts, even till today, August 1st, start of August, you know, we have NFL football for once this week between the Jaguars and the Raiders in the Hall of Fame game. So there's a lot of things happening and a lot of things still to figure out. But Watson's still the biggest news, in my opinion, in the NFL, period, regardless of what happened this offseason. Orlando Brown reported to Chiefs training camp today. Robert Griffin III reported that he's going to be back in training camp and playing under the franchise tag. So great for Patrick Mahomes to get his left tackle back. And then as well, Ray, your Dallas Cowboys were named the most valuable sports franchise in I think, in period. $7.64 billion, almost $2 billion more than the Rams at $5.91 billion. A little shocking. Even as big as the Dallas Cowboys are, surprised they're that valuable from a monetary standpoint. And then apparently there was this event called SummerSlam this weekend. I don't know, Ray, you threw this into the doc. Some guy named Ric Flair returned to the ring. He actually broke a record for being the oldest wrestler of all time. He's 100 years old. He looked like he got beat in the face, and I'm assuming the blood was fake. He got his last match. He won. It was great. People were excited. It was all over Twitter. Of course, I didn't watch it. Pat McAfee, the greatest showman in sports, apparently killed it at SummerSlam, according to the Bird app, because, again, I didn't actually watch it. And Roman Reigns apparently won the title, retained his title, won the title. I don't know. He was kind of crying. He had the belts up in the air, so I assume he won. I don't know. I think that he won. The picture said, I'm assuming he won. But Ray, did I miss anything in regards to SummerSlam? I know that Logan Paul was there. I don't know if, did Gronk show up for this one? I'm not so sure. Did I miss anything here?
I'm going to tell you this, man. Wrestling was a big part of my upbringing, man. I mean, I'm watching, it's back when it was WWF and WCW. Wednesdays was WCW. You knew Monday Night Raw, like you knew these things were going to happen. So to see Ric Flair have his last dance, I mean, again, doing what you love, man. Doing what you love until you can't do it anymore. And it's funny, even with this show, man, like I was excited as hell going to bed last night because I couldn't wait to get up and get on here and talk to you and talk to the people about sports, man. So yes, this was a big deal. Ric Flair, his final match. I mean, he's literally been wrestling since when I was a kid, man, like 30 years.
Yeah,
so,
he's like 77 or something.
Pat
Still in the ring.
Pat McAfee
Crazy.
was the GOAT. And Logan Paul, say what you want about him. He looked the part. Like he looks like he can be a good wrestler for some time. To be as technically sound as he was this, early in his career, very impressed with one of the Paul brothers, man. They're doing their damn thing. But as you talked about, the Deshaun Watson news is what we're waiting for. And, there's a lot of speculation out here now that he's got these cases settled. We should hear something this morning. Where are you at? Let's go. Best prediction. What happens to Deshaun Watson? How many games does he get?
I think he gets an 8-game suspension.
Okay.
I think that 6 is a little bit too light. I think he's probably going to get half the season. In this case now, a little bit less than half the season because it's 8 games. I don't think he sees a 9 or 10-game suspension. I think 8 is probably what he'll get. Is it fair? No, but I think it's just what he's going to get. I don't think he's going to get a season-long suspension. You see the settlement talks were at 12 and 6 to 8, so you have to imagine the arbitrator is going to be somewhere in the middle, right? They wouldn't have been talking about that if it wasn't a possibility. So I think that somewhere right around there is more than fair. Where are you at? What do you think Deshaun Watson gets today?
I'm gonna go 6 games, and I've literally got the TV on in front of me, and they're saying ruling by 9 a.m. Eastern time. I
Oh,
think he's
buddy.
gonna get. I think he's gonna get 6. We'll see. We'll see. I think he's gonna get 6. But this is the big domino to drop, and it's funny because we've been. It's actually not funny, but you see him at Cleveland Browns practice, and no one's booing. No one's booing. Everyone's happy. He's playing football. He's throwing the ball.
That's a bad look, man. Not for Cleveland Browns fans, but just it's the idea that if you're this good, regardless of
we'll
what
excuse
you've
whatever.
done,
Yeah.
yes, and we'll still cheer for you. We'll still root for you. And I get it. The Browns, they need a quarterback, and they've needed a quarterback for a long time. But it's definitely sad to see the cheers and all this stuff. And it's like there's still all of these issues, but it's just
no
sports,
different
though, at the end of the
than
day.
shit that just happens in the world in general. Like that. What's the difference between Deshaun Watson and some of these other jokers we see from movie stars, musicians, politicians? It unfortunately, when you've got money and stature and power, it gives you the leeway and I don't know, flexibility, whatever you want to call it, the leash to do shit that normal people couldn't do, right? And that's where we're at. And as long as he's out there throwing touchdown passes for Cleveland and scoring points and leading that team to victory, I doubt anybody in Cleveland or anybody that plays fantasy football, for better or worse, will give a damn about anything that has or has not occurred with Deshaun Watson. But we are here, and we'll talk through it as we go. But training camp, Jay, we are underway. Pads come on today. The pads are on today, so we'll really start to see, like who's balling and who isn't. But for those of you out there, let me just say this. For those of y'all out there that want to poo-poo the training camp hype in the clips and want to be actually, it's just shorts and a T-shirt guy, we fucking know. Right? Like, we know. Don't steal our joy. Don't be that individual. Don't be the, let's put him in the Hall of Fame. We love football. We haven't had football in I don't know how long. So, damn it, let people be excited about training camp practice highlights. We know that it is not indicative of what they're going to do in an actual NFL game because they'll have on pads. They'll be facing better competition. But let us enjoy it. Don't be the thief of joy. Don't be the damn Grinch because you just want to throw it out there that, it's shorts and a T-shirt. I can see that, right? Let us be happy, goddammit. Like, we want to watch football. We want to see football. So let us be happy. Now, some big takeaways that I've noticed and I'm paying attention to, Jay, and I want to get your thoughts on. MT, Michael Thomas, Saints in general, man. Olave's looking good. Looks like Winston's playing well. And the big thing is Michael Thomas is back. They're saying no limitations, jumping off the screen with his routes. He's been a standout, right? So Michael Thomas this year, what are your expectations? We kind of talked about this a little bit, and a lot of people in the chat, he maybe gets 1,000 yards. He's not the future. Just where are you at this season with Michael Thomas? You talking about redraft, dynasty, just in general with MT this season?
I'm in, man. I'm in on Michael Thomas. I've talked about, I think people should be trading for him. If you can get him for like a second-round pick and you think it's going to be late, I think it's worth it. I just think the upside is there. A guy who's been a top receiver in the league before. Yes, it wasn't with Jameis Winston, but at the end of the day, if he's getting open, Jameis is going to get him the ball. We've seen Jameis Winston support number one wide receivers before, a wide receiver one, so I'm not worried about him at all in the slightest. It just comes down to can he be healthy for the whole season? And if he can do that, I think most people can agree he has a wide receiver one ceiling, and he's being drafted as a wide receiver 30, wide receiver 40. So to me, that's worth the risk. And I get he's older, but if you're competing and you're trying to win, that's a move you make. If you're not competing, then of course you're not looking at Michael Thomas. But if you have him, don't just sell him for nothing. Maybe you want to sell him for a first. I get it, but I still think he's worth it if you're trying to make a playoff push. I'm in on Michael Thomas. I still think Chris Olave is still pretty valuable on top of that.
Yep. Allen Robinson, another veteran wide receiver, Jay, that the hype is completely justified. Austin Gale from PFF said that he talked with head coach, quarterback coach Zach Robinson a lot about Allen Robinson after practice yesterday. The entire team, players and coaches, are in quotes fucking stoked to use him as creatively as possible and really feed him the ball. The hype is very much real on A-Rob, and every damn training camp highlight pass that I see, it isn't the Cooper Kupp, and I'm not concerned. We know Cooper Kupp is going to do his thing, but it's the Allen Robinson diving in the end zone for catches, over the shoulder, downfield. Again, Prize Picks, you see, they're the sponsors and partners of this show. They've got his over-under projected yards at 850 and a half, Jay. 850 and a half for Allen Robinson this year. In the books, to be fair, the books have him at about 825. I think this is comeback player of the year range for A-Rob. It's a good offense, going to be a good team.
Maybe.
Will a wide receiver win comeback player of the year? I don't know. I don't know. He's got some other
Still kind of a QB defensive player award, right?
Kind of a QB defensive player award. I probably wouldn't put money on that. But Allen Robinson, the connection with Matt Stafford, and now with everything going on with Van Jefferson, apparently his knee isn't right. I don't know if you saw that, but Van Jefferson's knee is like not okay. We already think about the Rams as a consolidated passing attack, just going to Kupp, the number 2, Tyler Higbee, and the number 3 in the running back. Without Van Jefferson, this should just elevate A-Rob and Cooper Kupp even more so, right? You know, we keep saying there's no way Cooper Kupp can repeat the level of production that he had last year, and maybe he won't replicate that 1-for-1. But man, I want him and Allen Robinson. I want both of those guys quite badly.
Yeah, no, Allen Robinson should be great. And I think that the Van Jefferson piece is pretty big, right? He's really been the guy who can stretch the field for them. You know, they thought maybe Tutu Atwell could be that guy, but Van just took that role. He's big, he's strong, he runs pretty good routes. He's got agility that can make guys miss in space. And so I think that that's a big factor for the offense. But to your point about the target consolidation, it's going to go all to Kupp and all to A-Rob. And I think I just look at it like this, man. If you're looking at an offense that was great in the past, it's not quite the same archetype of players, but we've seen seasons where Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods have both had 1,000 yards in a season or very close to it, right? And I think we're going to see the same thing this year. Top 2 guys are going to use them in space all over the field, score lots of touchdowns, very creative on offense. I mean, 1,000 yards should be not where the line is, but probably where we should be projecting him to get to. And I think that it's very realistic for Allen Robinson to do that this year. I think the most interesting part is going to be the touchdowns, right? Cooper Kupp's been the end zone guy, but I still think that, you know, with Allen Robinson's size and his ability, they're going to be using him a lot in the red zone. Not that it's going to take away from Cooper Kupp, but maybe a little bit for what we see as a touchdown ceiling for Allen Robinson, maybe a little bit higher than we're suspecting. You know, all these packages, the creativeness, how they plan on using these guys. A-Rob could be really good in the red zone and score a ton of fantasy points for us this year. And it's one of the reasons why I think both of us were on him a long time ago, talking about how we think he has a really good ceiling and he's being drafted a little bit lower. If you got him and Matt Stafford, man, it's pretty good stack. Even when you think about not having Kupp on that lineup, it's going to be a fruitful position this year to have Allen Robinson on your team. But the question is, Ray, would you sell him at some point if the value gets too high?
It's coming, Marcus. Don't you worry. Marcus said I'm 19 minutes late. How many times has Ray said London this morning? Not once, but it's coming, big dog. What was the question, Jay? My bad, bro. I got distracted.
Just about, would there be a point, do you think, that you would sell Allen Robinson if the value got too high? Because he's on a 3-year deal, right?
I'll sell anybody.
And so,
yes,
because he's low right now, but I think there could be a point where he's so good that people are like, oh, he's going to be the best, whatever. And so I'm curious if that does kind of go too far. And I'm excited to see what happens, though. But Allen Robinson, I think, still at value right now. Ooh, is that legit? In the chat?
Is it legit or is this fake news? All right.
Oh, no.
All right. Okay. We have the is this official, Jay?
It's official. As of 40 seconds ago, let's give Rap Sheet a shout out.
All right, here we go. It is official. 6 games.
Official.
Deshaun Watson confirmed. 6 games. Deshaun Watson confirmed. All right, Jay, go ahead while I look for graphics. Just initial reaction.
Man, it sucks, man. It doesn't feel like enough. It just doesn't. I'm sure they saw a lot of testimonies. Sue Robinson read a lot of stuff. Man, I don't know. If you got Deshaun Watson, you should be hella excited. Like, all other stuff aside, this is why I think all of us, you know, in the fantasy community, we've been talking about Deshaun Watson for a long time, why we think he's a top 5 quarterback. He should be pretty damn good this year. And to only be spending 6 games is great for people who have him, and it's great for the Browns. You know, the Browns have been waiting for this decision for how long? I think this makes their job of what they do at quarterback a lot easier. I think you just roll into the season with Jacoby Brissett. And if it was me, man, I think you're ready to go. It's August 1st. Deshaun Watson's gonna be at training camp today. The Browns were off yesterday. Gonna get a ton of questions at Browns camp today. But at the end of the day, this is what Sue Robinson recommended. It is not the actual suspension, right? That is important to point out. He has not been suspended 6 games. She recommends a 6-game
That's the
suspension.
recommendation. Okay. So how
Yes.
does that? I have no clue. How does that work? They recommended, and Goodell is the one who.
Goodell,
ends
I believe,
up-
still has final say, right? So he can still say, Sue Robinson recommended 6 games, but we're going to give him 8 games because we feel like he did more than she did, or blah, blah, whatever. So there is still the possibility that he gets more games than that. And that's why the NFLPA put out a statement yesterday saying they hope the NFL goes with her decision and doesn't try to go their own route with the suspension. So if he does get 6 games, which is not official yet, that would be great news for the Browns, great news for fantasy owners who have Deshaun Watson, because 6 games is nothing in a 17-game season. And especially more importantly, you have him for the final stretch of the season, which is when you really need your quarterback to be your best player.
Yeah, man. We said 6, 8, 10, 12. Wasn't a year. Some people said 2 years. If I'm Deshaun, I wouldn't even appeal it. But if he does, is there a chance this gets reduced to 4? Is this a chance this gets reduced to 2 games?
I doubt it goes beyond that, right?
Yeah,
because if he gets 8 games, you'd appeal to get down to 6 because there was already someone who did the exhaustive research to come up with a suspension, right? So I doubt a judge would overturn and undermine all of that information, but maybe they would. I'm not too sure. And so I think that's kind of the reason why she was in there, right? People talking about Big Ben got 6 games for what he did, but again, Watson seemingly much worse than what we've seen so far. But 6 games is definitely a little bit light, in my opinion, for Watson.
Listen,
we didn't expect this season, but precedent maybe says that it's 6. And so if that's what precedent says, then maybe that's just what they're willing to go with.
Well, I'm seeing some people in the chat say that the NFLPA has already said that if it's 6 games, they will not appeal the suspension. So it looks like the Browns will be without their $230 million quarterback for a couple of weeks, and he will be playing football here in 2022. So for those people, from a fantasy perspective, if you had him and you held him, or you traded for him, or you acquired him, good for you. He's arguably one of the best quarterbacks. At least last time we saw him on the field, he was a top 2, top 3 at worst quarterback in the NFL. This is, good news for Amari Cooper. And as I'm watching ESPN right now, it does the breaking news thing. Deshaun Watson suspended 6 games for the personal conduct policy. We're not going to dive into all the more. We're not going to dive into that. He was not charged criminally. He settled his cases.
Yeah.
As I've said, probably a certified creep. Seems a little odd to do some of the things that he did as, a player of power and stature, but this is what it is, right? So we got the resolution we're looking for, or at least we got a resolution to the Deshaun Watson saga. It is over. This has been going on for way too long. I'm glad that we don't have to, what's going to happen with Watson? Now you can just talk about him on the field, right? When he gets on the field, week 7, week 8, whenever that may be, once they get to throw him out there, it should be good things for the Cleveland Browns football team. But there we go, Deshaun Watson, and we still have more news because Jay, one Kenny Pickett is not looking good in training camp apparently, and part of me is like, no surprise, right? He's a rookie quarterback. Most of the times rookie quarterbacks do struggle, but they're saying he looks real bad. Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, Pickett is battling Rudolph for the QB3 spot apparently.
Yeah.
Oh boy. What are your thoughts on Pickett, man? I'm not as tapped into that Pittsburgh scene. I'm just reading what I see, right? I'm just the conduit of the news, but all reports are Kenny Pickett not looking good.
I mean, we weren't that in on Pickett to begin with. I think this really goes to show you that the Steelers really felt like they needed a quarterback, and they felt like Kenny Pickett could be the guy. But I think the NFL got this year right, and really right. We were projecting 3 first-round quarterbacks, 4 first-round quarterbacks, maybe even 5 first-round quarterbacks, and the NFL was like, No, wait a minute. We don't believe that. We don't think that. And
Right.
everything we've seen so far backs that up. And I think more so than I ever expected. Malik Willis looks bad in camp. Desmond Ridder doesn't look the part. And we'll see what happens with Sam Howell, Matt Corral. Like none of these guys.
Matt Corral's getting. It's funny you bring up Corral. It's funny you bring up Corral, man, because is there a world in which he's one of the first rookie quarterbacks on the field? And I mean, Baker and Sam Darnold both. I'm not saying he's going to I'm not saying he's going to win that job outright. I'm not insinuating that at all. But you go look up Matt Corral, and every report that I've seen on him has been positive. Everything that I've seen from Matt Corral has been positive. We know Sam Darnold is literally a walking trash can with arms and legs. He's a trash can with arms and legs. We know that. He's not good. And Baker Mayfield probably isn't. I don't know what he is. I have no clue.
We'll see.
I've seen him throw a couple of back leg picks, but it's practice and that shit happens. But I can see a world in which Matt Corral gets on the field. And I'm not saying he's going to be some world beater. I'm not saying he's going to be some superstar, but if Carolina's if they're not going to be a good football team, if they're bad, Vegas is projecting them to be bad. What incentive? Why not throw him out there, right? What if Matt Rule gets canned after week 10? It's the interim coach, and they're just like, fuck it, throw the kid on the field. Let's see what he can do. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you're right. The NFL told us when Kenny Pickett went back of the first and everybody else was round 3 or round 5 or undrafted, like these guys aren't very good. It's concerning. And I saw Marcus say something about Rudolph competing for the starting job. Yeah, I saw that too. And the fact that that's even a conversation is scary, right? The fact that the conversation is Rudolph has a chance, but then there was a report that dropped yesterday that it was like Mitch's job to lose. So we'll see how that goes. But if you're in a rookie draft right now, because some people have not drafted rookies yet, I know that's hard to say. But if you're in a rookie draft right now, assume Superflex. A lot of people were telling us you got to take Kenny Pickett, 102, 103, 104. Where would you even feel like in a Superflex? Where would you feel comfortable taking him right now?
Maybe 201. Like I think I'm just willing to be wrong. It would be if Kenny Pickett is good, I think I'll just eat it. Honestly, like I'm just. Okay, he's good.
Right,
I still think his ceiling is what, a top 16 quarterback. I don't even think he's better than Mac
I don't
Jones.
even know about that, man.
So if he's a starter, okay, I'm not getting the starter value where I can trade him for a first or whatever. Like he's still a young starter. But I mean, I'm not taking him over James Cook. Am I taking him over Rashad White? Maybe. Am I taking him over Isaiah Spiller, who's apparently Austin Eckler's backup because he can do everything on the field? Maybe, right? Like, am I taking him over TDP? Maybe. Like there's just
I think I would just TDP, but
would I rather a fly running back on Pickett? 201 is probably my cutoff.
Let me give you some names now, because I'm with you. I think I'm fine being wrong on him. If he ends up being good, I'm fine. Like fuck it, I don't care. George Pickens or Kenny Pickett right now?
Pickens, not close.
Sky Moore or Kenny Pickett?
Sky Moore, not close.
Okay, yeah, I'm giving us I'm leading into it.
Some layups.
Who'd you say?
I said you give me some layups.
Yeah, give you some layups before we get into it. Rashad White or Kenny Pickett?
Rashad White.
Isaiah Spiller or Kenny Pickett?
Isaiah Spiller.
Christian Watson or Kenny Pickett?
Ooh, I think it's Kenny Pickett. It's two guys I'm out on. So
Dotson or Pickett? Jahan Dotson or Pickett?
Dotson. First round wide receiver is Dotson. And looking good too.
I'm not gonna argue on it. Again, we don't want to. Let's not overreact, Jay. I'm just based on the current sentiment, right?
People need to understand though. Like it's also a conversation of ceiling, right? And outcome is like if he's good, we're not missing a ton, right? Like if Malik Willis was a starter and good, we could be like he could be something. That's the thing, right? He can still run, he can still move. Kenny Pickett's probably not going to do a ton of that. And again, the thing with Pickett that's the most frustrating is that they drafted him to be their guy, and now all of a sudden he's not looking good. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if he's not going to be good, it's not good for the players and it's not good for the offense, which sucks because they have a great team, and with a great quarterback, they could be unreal. Like the quarterback position in Pittsburgh could be unreal. So we'll see.
Stop, Hot Rock Nation. Get the hell out of here. Get the
We'll
hell.
take Kenny Pickett there.
Yeah, we'll
but
take Kenny
it's
Pickett
tough.
over
Yeah,
Velus
it's
Jones.
probably somewhere around 203, 204, maybe. Like, he's not a first rounder to me anymore. There's too many guys that I like that are performing well and I think have great ceilings. I would be willing to take Pickett a little bit later. Still should probably be the first quarterback off the board. But if you are really convicted and you think someone else should be the first quarterback off the board, go for it. Because I don't think you're making a terrible decision. Just Pickett being a first-round pick probably has the longest leash of the bunch for sure.
All right, Jay. Well, we're gonna get into some training camp highlights. I need you to go do some work on the back end. The people are calling for you to do some work. So let's go ahead and let's get you to do that. And we're gonna go through. Let's put on those shorts and t-shirts and get hype. Right? Let's do it. Let's put on the shorts and t-shirts and get hype, Jay. Let's do it. Top 5. Where you get some bonus clips in here.
Honorable mention, baby.
Honorable mention.
Rashad Bateman, Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
Bam,
yes.
Nice contested catch between two defenders. George Pickens running routes on air, drops it. Did he? No. One-handed snag with the Sully. Number 5, Treylon Burks with the body. Woo! See ya. Gone. Too big, too physical. Number 4, Trey Lance to Brandon Ayuk. I'm loving this play, man.
Yes.
Ooh, up over the defender. Ayuk could be really good this year, man. I'm really excited for Ayuk. Lance obviously looking pretty good in camp. Number 3, unexpected bombs. Tua to Tyreek Hill and in stride. Don't talk shit about Tua. 65 yards to the house. Steps up in the pocket, delivers a dime to Tyreek Hill. Loving the play there from Tua. Then another one, unexpected bombs. Jameis Winston drops back, steps into the pocket. Who's downfield? Is that Chris Olave?
I think so.
Oh,
bang, bang.
Boy.
Barbecue chicken.
Olave could be the guy. Here's your
Let's
boy.
get it.
Drake London, number 2, can't separate, comes back, gets it over the little boy. Easy money for Drake London. Too big, too strong. One Ray GQ said, can't separate.
Hold on, we're going to run it back. I got to run it back. I got to run it back, Jay. I got to run it back. They said he can't separate. They said he can't. If he's even, I'm leaving. Barbecue chicken. Let's go. Mama, there goes that man. Drizzy Drake, number 1 receiver off the board. Number 1 wide receiver in my heart. Drizzy, got him. Yeah, baby.
Crazy. Number 1, TJ Vasher, wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, going up and getting it. We've seen this too many times with TJ Vasher, and honestly, I hope he gets some opportunity in the red zone because he is a serious threat. Had to be number 1 for TJ Vasher. Dude is just a monster in the red zone. Loving what I'm seeing, though, in training camp. Super exciting. Ray, how did you feel about my top 5? Because you said that I missed one.
You missed one.
Kind of
you missed one, and I'm going to put him up because you missed one, Sky Moore. I got to have Sky Moore. Sky Moore should have been top 5. His catch was nuts, Jay. I don't know how you didn't have Kansas City Chiefs. And they're saying reports about Sky Moore. A lot of beat reporters said, Jay, that they didn't expect much from him this fall, like he was a 2023 play. I've also been saying that, like he's a 2023 guy. Yeah. But apparently they're like, yo, he might be doing work this season, Jay. He might be doing work this season. Did you talk about Deebo Samuel? Have we even talked about him yet?
No, you glossed over it. So when we got through the highlights, I figured we could circle back.
Okay.
Because Deebo Samuel got his contract extension, 3 years, $71.55 million, $58.1 million guaranteed, basically the same contract as DK Metcalf. He does have a max of $73.5 million. Great for Deebo Samuel. Great for the 49ers to finally get this deal done. 3-year extension. I believe he's a free agent at 29. So pretty good for Deebo. He got the contract he wanted. He's back with Ayuk, with Kittle, got the bag. You saw him on the new thumbnail. I'm excited, man. This is great for the offense. I think the biggest thing, obviously, this helps Trey Lance, right? You know, I'm not super excited because I was kind of touting Ayuk a little bit, hoping he could really be the guy. But having everybody there, the band is back together, new quarterback, probably a slightly different offense with Deebo and Trey Lance in the fold. But I think this is great for the team, great for the organization, and this needed to get done. Seeing the reports of all these things, of Deebo unhappy, all this, that, just noise. He is back officially, and now Deontay is on his own island of not getting paid. Probably the worst thing that I've seen from all these guys.
He's the only one of the receivers from that class. What is it, the 2019 class, that has yet
Yeah.
to been paid. A.J.
Yep.
Brown, D.K. Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, DJ Moore. Everyone's
DJ
got
Moore,
the
yeah.
bag. Deontay Johnson. And
It's just standing there saying, what about me? What about me?
the fact that George Pickens is looking as good as he is, I'm
Yep.
not saying you replace Deontay 1-for-1 with a GP, but he's looking good, man. GP's looking good. But yeah, that's good for San Francisco. There's reports that Trey Lance has been kind of up and down, Are you worried about Trey?
Not really.
There's
not for fantasy.
Yeah. For fantasy, he's going to be great, right? He should be.
Yeah, like you said, 500-yard rushing floor in a lot of ways. I think he's going to be good. But from an actual football standpoint, I think we'll have to wait till we actually see it, right? I'm not going to judge his processing ability and what he does with his reads in practice. You can't do that. We're not watching him actually reading against real defenses necessarily. It's tough to judge these things when you're not there watching him play in full. You can look at his completion percentage. Okay, Jalen Hurts is 60%, Trey Lance 65%. Who cares at the end of the day? Like, some of these guys are going to be good. Some of them are going to be okay. Some are going to be bad. Until we see them on the field, I don't really care so much because they could be completely different when the games and the lights ultimately turn on. I'm not super worried about him as a player. I hope, though, that the 49ers can really figure something out because they have just so much talent on this team now with Trey Lance to kind of unlock what could be the potential of this offense. The deep passing game can hopefully flourish now with Trey Lance at the helm. If he's accurate and he's making the right reads and throwing the ball on time, they could be deadly. And so I think from that standpoint, they could be – do you think they could be a top 5 offense this year?
Who?
In the NFL? The Niners.
I don't know.
You don't think so? I'm thinking they're dark horse for top 5, but they should be really good. Like, I didn't even mention Elijah Mitchell, who's also a very competent, well-rounded running back in his own right. So yeah. I think there's a lot of things to like here, but Lance I'm not worried about today. When the lights come on and we see him play, we'll see, and I'll judge him based off that. I'm not going to judge him too much based off training camp.
Yeah. All right. You ready for a mock? I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
We got a mock up. We're gonna look at my counterpart Kyle Krabs over at the Draft Network. He's got a new mock draft that dropped today, version 1. And if you're not familiar with TDN and what they do, we are degenerate drafts people. I mean, it's draft 24/7. They're covering every damn position from long snapper to interior defensive tackle, slot cornerback, everything. And they put in a ton of work. The scouts, Kyle Krabs, Joe Marino, Keith, Damian Parson, Brantley, they've done a great job of putting together tiers and a top 100 list. The top 100 list just dropped. And they got a new mock draft. And it's interesting that we see the Giants on the thumbnail of this new mock draft, because Daniel Jones apparently is looking awful as well. Just some awful quarterbacks in the NFL right now, Jay. And I think it'd be a good roll into maybe some potential fallout from this season. But let's go through the fantasy relevant players. Like, if you want to look at the whole mock, see who's 101, 102, et cetera, go to draftnetwork.com. We'll link the article. Jay, let's get the article linked in the YouTube description so you can go right over there and check that out. But let's just talk about a way too early 2023 mock draft from Kyle Krabs. Shout out Kyle at Grinding the Tape on Twitter. And how would we react for fantasy football purposes if these landing spots were to come to fruition? So at number 4, Kyle has the Carolina Panthers picking number 4 overall, and this is all based on Super Bowl odds, right? Teams with the worst Super Bowl odds to the best, because we don't have any kind of schedules or rankings or anything like that. So number 4, the Carolina Panthers select their quarterback of the future, which will not be Matt Corral, unfortunately, and they go with C.J. Stroud, the quarterback out of The Ohio State University. At pick 5, number 5 overall, the New York Football Giants select their version of Josh Allen, a.k.a. Will Levis, the quarterback out of Kentucky. Sort of Josh Allen-esque skill set there with Will Levis, the arm, the size, the rushing mobility, and Daniel Jones is awful. He is awful. So they need to find an upgrade. And when you've got a new coach in place with his new players, you better believe all that shit they're talking about trying to fix Daniel Jones and we're going to ride with Daniel Jones. They have an opportunity to upgrade the quarterback position. They will. And as much as I like Bryce Young, as much as you like Bryce Young, There will be questions about Bryce Young and his size, which will durability. Can he play the position because he's so small? Will Levis has none of those concerns doing in the SEC. So Will Levis at number 5. Jay, you want to take pick 6, 7, and 15?
At number 6, the Jacksonville Jaguars get their franchise wide receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver out of Ohio State. I don't know how much I like it, but if Trevor Lawrence is good this year, seeing JSN in Jacksonville is not the worst outcome. I was hoping he'd go to the Bears paired with Justin Fields because I just think I like that connection a little bit better. But if he does go 6th overall, I mean, this is the biggest thing with JSN is that it's very difficult people to not project him as a top 10 pick. We've seen the way receivers have been drafted in the past few years, and it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that either JSN, Butte, or Jordan Addison should be, if not all of them, top 10 to top 15 selections this season. And at number 7, the Detroit Lions decide to stack their new wide receiver with his old quarterback. Woo! Bryce Young, quarterback out of Alabama, to Detroit at number 7.
Give it to me.
I'm curious to think if they actually have the pick at 7, but I would love to see Bryce Young in this offense. I think he fits it really well. The biggest thing is that he would have an offensive line to go with these guys. Amon-Ra St. Brown, TJ Hawkinson, Jameson Williams. We'll see who else they bring in. Obviously, DeAndre Swift out of the backfield. Lots of talent, lots of weapons. Great offensive line for Bryce Young, who, like you've mentioned, issues with the size, the potential durability at the NFL level, but the talent on the field shows every single week. Former Heisman Trophy winner, going for back-to-back. We'll see if he wins it. And at 15, the Houston Texans select Kayshon Boutte, wide receiver out of LSU, the second wide receiver off the board. Ray, how do you feel about Boutte in Houston paired with Davis Mills?
Hey, this would show a lot of confidence in Mills, and the reports out of Houston training camp is Mills has looked good. He's got command of the offense. I think Pep Hamilton and Lovie Smith are good culture setters. I think they're going to do everything that they can to put him in a position to be successful. The fact that he does have Brandon Cooks this year is good. We saw what's going on with John Mechie. Prayers up to John Mechie, but there's no guarantee that he's back playing football anytime soon. Kayshon Boutte, I would love it. Houston is just a couple hours west of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, so it's close to home. He's still playing down south. He's got a young ascending potential quarterback based on, again, the draft order is coming from Super Bowl odds, people, so I get it. I think Detroit is also a dark horse team to sneak into a wild card spot, but just based on Super Bowl odds, that's where they're picked. I would like it for Kayshon Boutte, and that pick was the selection from Cleveland, from the Deshaun Watson trade.
Yes.
So they get Kayshon Boutte there. The Arizona Cardinals at pick 16, they go wide receiver. Could this signal the end of DeAndre Hopkins, or is it just getting Kyler Murray more weapons? But they go wide receiver, and they take USC new wide receiver Jordan Addison. I call him kind of like Slim Reaper 2.0. He's got that slim Devontae Smith build, downfield threat, should smash this season with Caleb Williams in that Lincoln Riley offense. Jay, who's the first running back off the board? Is there any shock here? Let's talk about it, though.
If there is a shock, I would be surprised. But at 17, finally, it's been years. We've been asking for this. Miami selects Texas running back Bijan Robinson to finally complete this offense. Assuming Tua is still there next season, I guess we'll see about that, because there is the case that Tua needs to step up this season, but Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, a good offensive line, hopefully revamped through free agency and the draft, and Bijan Robinson at the helm should be a prolific offense that can compete with the Bills in the AFC. Now, they don't have the Bills defense, but I think that offense can definitely compete with the Bills to some respect. I love the Bills, but this would be a damn good offense in Miami, and I'm excited to see it happen. It feels like we've been pegging a running back to Miami for some time now, and it seems like people are still hoping that happens. Let's see if it happens this coming season, and Krabs obviously agrees. Bringing the stud running back out of Texas to Miami. Ray, how would you like the fit of Bijan Robinson in Miami?
Listen, I'm looking at all these training camp clips of what's his name, Chase Edmonds running through that line. I would love to see Bijan Robinson there. So if that happens, that would be awesome. The Minnesota Vikings at pick 19, they go tight end, and they get tight end one off the board. Michael Mayer. Big Michael Mayer, 87. Some people call him Baby Gronk. I just call him a damn beast. Michael Mayer, this would be bad news for Irv Smith truthers if he goes there. We'll see what Irv Smith does this year, but Michael Mayer to Minnesota at pick 19. Now, this one is, Jay, if I told you to guess the fourth quarterback off the board and I gave you $1 million, would you have gotten this one right? Would you have gotten this one right?
If how many guesses do I get? Because I think
You get
I've
3
been
guesses.
on this a little bit. I think I've been on this a little bit. And I don't remember exactly who it was on the list.
I don't know.
Have to go
I don't know
A-Rich.
if you've been on this.
I have to go A-Rich up there a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Was it Grayson McCall? Maybe.
Yeah,
Could be a
no
first rounder,
McCall.
probably not.
A-Rich. I think A-Rich. Phil Jerkovich, maybe.
Phil Jerkovich is
Devin
the guy that I would think is
Leary.
the dark horse.
Cam Ward.
Yeah, Cam Ward could be.
Nope.
Who's the guy?
He's got the Seattle Seahawks, the pick from Denver at pick 24, going with Stanford signal caller Tanner McKee, 6'6", 225-pound gunslinger. He's got a cannon of an arm, not very mobile, but Stanford. You look, they put Kevin Hogan in the league. Davis Mills. If Davis Mills is successful this year, that will definitely help elevate that Tanner McKee profile. We all know Andrew Luck out of Stanford. And if you have not watched the latest video that I posted on the Draft Network, before everybody starts laughing, oh my God, Tanner McKee, can't happen, it's impossible. You go back through history from 2009 up until 2021, Jay. There have only been 3 times, maybe four if you count 2015, where the consensus top-rated quarterback going into their final college season actually is the top-rated quarterback during the NFL draft. And I mean, in 2009, it was Matthew Stafford. 2012, it was Andrew Luck. In 2021, it was Trevor Lawrence. Every year in between that 09 to 2021 draft class range, the top projected quarterback going into their final college season did not end up being drafted as the top quarterback and it was always somebody off the beaten path that wasn't even mocked in round 1. Cam Newton in 2011, not even mocked in the first round. Robert Griffin III, not mocked in the first round. That was the number 1, number 2 overall pick. You go back to 2014, I believe Teddy Bridgewater was the projected number 1 quarterback off the board. It ended up being Blake Bortles. Find me the analyst that had Blake Bortles as the top quarterback coming out of the NFL draft. So before we think we know, we got it all figured out. Even go back to 2020. Nobody was tanking for Joey Burrow. Nobody was tanking for Justin Herbert. Everybody was tanking for Tua Tagovailoa. So when you start going back and you really look at it like, damn, man, we are really shitty at figuring out which guys are going to be the top quarterbacks come NFL. Think about this past year. Wasn't Malik Willis a locked in number 2? There's no way the Lions let him fall past number 2. Nope.
Yeah, February, March, he could be number 2, which is insane to think about right now.
If he did fall past 2, Jay, Carolina, he's not falling past 6. If he gets past Carolina, there's no way Pittsburgh passes on him. And then we see him fucking 2 days later in round 3, right? And it's Kenny Pickett who's the first round pick. So let me just say, we know nothing. So he's got Tanner McKee going to Seattle at pick 24. And then the last fantasy relevant player. Are you ready to be burned again, Jay? I don't know how much longer.
I am not ready to be burned again.
I love Kyle. I don't know. And I like the player. I'm trying not to do it, Jay. But Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver out of TCU to Baltimore at pick 26. Josh Doxson, Jalen Reagor. I'm trying hard, man. I like Quentin Johnston. I'm trying hard not to fall down this path, man. I'm trying hard not to scout the helmet and be one of those guys. But man, and Quentin Johnston is dope. He's a good he's a damn good
freak, man.
He's a freak. He's a freak. He's big, he's fast. I'm lazy. It's lazy now. Yeah. I'm just being it's lazy. I'm like, it's TCU. I don't know if I want to do it. TCU, Baylor. It scares me, man. It scares me. Now, we'll see, though. But if this were to play, let me just ask a question to the audience. If this were how the first round shook out, and we know it won't be, right? We know things will change. How do you feel about this class? How would you feel about, because everyone said trade 2022, go to 2023. It's a much better class, which I agree. I think it is a much better class overall. But how would you feel about it if Anthony Richardson's not one of the guys, if it's Tanner McKee, and we're going to do this we're going to talk mock drafts throughout the year, and it's going to be fun to track the player values and how we're valuing these guys and trying to identify which players are going to rise from those college football ashes to be, stars and projected top picks. it's kind of like
It's good. I think it's fine.
Okay.
I don't really have any issues with it. I
Okay.
think, you get Stroud in a great spot. You get Bryce Young in a great spot, right? We get Levis in what we hope
I think he'll
can be a great spot.
I
with
would
Daboll,
love him
right?
with Daboll. I would love him because
Right?
he had
So,
Josh Allen.
You have that from the receivers. You got JSN going to Jacksonville, pretty open situation. Don't mind that at all. You got Addison going to Arizona, that we know very pass friendly, and then you got Butte at a wide open situation in Houston. So I think we're in some pretty good waters here. Nothing really killing anybody. Obviously, Bijan's going to be a stud running back. Mayer in a great spot that needs a tight end in Minnesota. Tanner McKee, we'll see where he would go if he ultimately ends up going in the first round. I'm curious where people would value him. That's a little more difficult. And then Quentin Johnson in Baltimore. Go right ahead. I'm not drafted him. Like that's pretty easy. But you see here, we've talked about, where is the kind of the cap for these guys? We're seeing about 6 to 8 deep that we like pretty easily, regardless of situation. If they do go and get good situations, it may get, 8 to 9 deep. We've talked in the Discord about, are these 2023 firsts overvalued yet? Because there is still a drop off at some point. And we will get there eventually. But right now, I'm loving what I'm seeing from the top 6 to 8 guys and what their potential situations could be.
Stroud, Levis, and Bryce Young, all top 3 picks. For fantasy football purposes, which quarterback do you want?
That's tough, man. Because it'd be, not that I'm saying, oh man, they're all
which
in
quarterback
good,
would
not
you
great
want?
situations. I mean, I'd probably want Stroud. I think he's in the best situation. It's just the coach, right? If somehow Rule is still there, that's what scares me more than anything else.
If they're picking number 4, if they're picking 4 overall, he ain't there. He ain't there.
Which is fine. I'm happy with that. Then because you still got McCaffrey, you still got DJ Moore. They probably bring in somebody else. I think Bryce Young is fine, and I think Levis could be great. I just don't know if all those guys fit perfectly. I think I have a really good idea of what to expect in Carolina. I don't know what to expect in New York, but we'll see it play out this year. So maybe that'll be more clear. And I would be willing to take Levis first overall.
If Levis, if I'm saying if, and we all know if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk, right? But if Levis is picked 5 overall to the Giants and Stroud goes to Carolina and Young goes to Detroit, I would take Will Levis as the first quarterback. But a lot of people are trying to tell me I've been a big Levis fan for a long time. I mean, it's betting on those traits. And when you've got someone that's got the physical tools that Will Levis possesses, it's hard for it. You go back to Josh Allen and you look at his final college season numbers, they were awful. Like he didn't light the world on fire, and he was at fucking Wyoming. Like this dude's doing it in the SEC. I know he lost Wan'Dale Robinson, but they've got Dane Key, they've got Barian Brown, and they got a transfer guy that came in. He's going to have weapons. Chris Rodriguez looks to be cleared from his legal issues, and he's going to have the stage to show it this fall. He's got games against Anthony Richardson in Georgia. So I probably would be taking Big Nasty, Big Will Levis as the first quarterback off the board if he's the number 5 pick, man. And I don't think that should be a hot take because of what he can do with his legs and his arm. It would be interesting. But shout out to Kyle Krabs. Go to the Draft Network. Check out the full mock. I'll just spoil it for everybody. Will Anderson is the number 1 overall pick, and he should be because he's that damn good. But Jay, that's the show, big dog. You got anything else to holler at the people about before we get out of here so they can go and spam for Deshaun Watson trades and all this other stuff, and we'll just watch the world? Real quick.
Okay.
Can Levis really run like Allen? Yes. And he may. I would
say. Would you say yes? I would say no. But Allen ran. Good enough,
go to Player Pro. Allen ran a 4.7 something. Let me go look it up. I believe he ran 4.7.
It's 4.7 for sure.
I think it was, yes, he 100% can run like Josh Allen, if not a little bit more. Like, if not a little better. He ran a 4.75, which is moving. I would put money that Will Levis runs 4.75 or sub. 4.75, 100%.
Yep.
Do we have a Kyler meme winner? We will go through that. I think Jay and I identified 3 that we liked. We'll get the Kyler meme winner. We'll use that meme all season because we're sure he'll do a lot of crying, and we'll get you a DD shirt sent out your way. But I appreciate y'all in the comments. I know we had a little troll action today. We don't let those people affect us. It's a Monday. We're going to start this thing off positively. We got NFL news. The Pats come on today. We got a mock draft that we could talk about. Y'all had Wake Up. So we ain't going to let that stop the show. So I appreciate y'all tapping in. If it's your first time on the channel, hit the thumbs up button, like the content, comment for the algorithm. Make sure you tap in. We'll be back live Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jay, I have no clue what we're going to talk about. Probably more training camp news.
Wednesday.
What did I say? Monday?
It's Monday today.
Monday? Did I say Monday? Y'all know what
it's okay. Wednesday,
you know what I mean. You know what I mean. We'll be back on Wednesday. We appreciate y'all being here. Make sure you wake y'all asses up on Wednesday with me and Jay, man. Y'all have a great Monday, August 1st. Make it great, baby. We out of this thing. Peace.